Blessings, yo. I guess this is a part 2588 to this whole Eve and Lilith mess. The envy and jealousy of Eve because of the pieces that she refuses to want to see of herself to heal herself. She has to come up with all of the stories of Lilith being on her own, self-sufficient, enjoying her fucking life. So it makes sense that Lilith is painted as the homewrecker, the fucking slore, the whole high price escort and shit because Eve's way of keeping, what they have really is by manipulation. It's like she has to keep Lilith single. She has to keep Lilith, this fucking monster of a woman because no, monster of a woman, which is she, which is Eve, the one that's demanding, the one that says you have to because you are, the man of the house type of shit. You must provide, you must do this, you must do that, but they can't do that for themselves, yo. That's the reason why they need to keep Lilith just as single and making her seem like she's so unmanageable and so fucking uncontrollable because she controls herself, she leads herself, and she wouldn't mind following those that lead her into the same direction that she's going to. Whereas Eve is waiting for direction, because she can't and don't want to lead herself into her own healing, her own foundation of self sufficiency and stability, right? It's like they got to paint Lilith out to be the fucking she devil altogether because Eve apparently is supposed to be everything that Adam needs, but she's in pieces because she has no heart, right? Because Adam created her with no heart. He just wanted her to agree. He needed her to submit. But after a while, shit, you get tired. And she obviously got tired, but she's left in pieces because instead of choosing herself, she chose to wait to be a lady in waiting, a lady in waiting for money, a lady in waiting for affection, a lady in waiting for everything. Whereas self love is not there, whereas Lilith is already loving herself, whereas she's already multiplying, she's magnifying, she's magnetizing. So it makes sense for both the Adam and Eve in the prospect when he's searching for himself, he has to paint Lilith as the whore that, that's the one that he wants because of the fact that, he wanted an independent woman that's gonna sit there and fucking raise him up. But he's confused in the Eve thing. He's confused as to the submission of Eve. She'll do anything type of thing. Whereas they gotta make they yo, it's crazy as hell because of the fact that Eve had to show herself in the pieces that she is of herself when it comes to what she needs to heal for herself. It's like some people really do need for you to manipulate, you know, in order to keep what they need coming. And they'll submit to, yo, this is crazy as shit. Because they'll paint Lilith as the home wrecker when they are the wreck of their own home because of the pieces of themselves that they refuse to fucking heal. Because to be alone really isn't lonely when you're choosing yourself every time. But the thing is, they're the type to do the spell work. The Eve at that table that's left in pieces with the rest of the concubines are basically doing the spell work to create with everybody. They're manipulating other people's minds to make Lilith look like, her independence is coming from the very same males that Eve is selling herself to get that validation and attention to fill the void that she's missing because she was created to just submit and be submissive. Whereas Eve will submit to who submits to her too. Wow. So they need for her to stay single. They need Lilith to be single. They need any fucking independent woman or man to be single just so that they can be looked at as the community piece of meat that is shared by everybody because Eve is still, even the concubines, the Thoths, and the fucking, what else do you call them? The builder hoes, yo. are still in pieces because they were raised up, they were groomed up, they were conditioned into having no heart, but to be getting that, to get the scamming, the scheming, the manipulating, the spell work, the fucking putting period blood in people's food and fucking piss in somebody's cup just to have the bind, just to keep the security, just so that they don't look like their hands are fucking out for the handouts in order to keep themselves looking just as stable. Those are the ones that hold up the image. And they need to tear up Lilith's image just to keep their image. Those are the ones that need Lilith single just so that they can keep the whole horde of males. Wow. To keep the whole hordes of males enticed with the influence of who she is. You know, she was basically created for the lust, power, and the greed that Adam was after when he was in his lowest vibration. So she submitted to all of his needs, whereas Lilith already grew from all of those. There's stages in energy. You know, there's levels to everything when it comes to mindset. You get tired of everything. But instead of being bitter and spiteful, you know, you took the healing route. And the healing route is where you'll get the most wars when it comes to the mental wars, when it comes to the emotional wars, because that's when the past keeps returning to go right back to the same things that Eve is really into. And that is the lust, power, and the greed. Be everything to everybody, but anything, nothing to yourself. They're the ones that's filled with the chaos, distraction, and disruptions and interactions where it interrupts you in your path of healing. But they're left in pieces. Eve and the concubines are still left in pieces because they still choose to fill up the void by the attention and validation to keep up the image that they hide behind. Yet Lilith is walking in her natural state. You know, nothing about her is marred up or out of place because she took her time to build herself up, just the same way as everybody has a choice that's sitting at that table, but they don't want to because it's easier to gain it's easier to gain the favors by doing unfavorable acts in order to maintain the image of who they of who they pretend to be, because the picking and the pieces of them is this, you know, the copying and the taking and the imitating and mimicking of others' energies in order to feel like they're whole. That's putting on a different mask, putting on a different costume, putting on a different shoes in order to be something else other than themselves. Those are the shortcut takers. Those are the scammers and schemers to get something so quick that they got to keep on doing it and exhaust themselves. So it does make sense to keep the independent individuals that chooses themselves, that is quick to say no, even if it is family and friends, to keep yourself whole. Because those that really do sit at that table chopping themselves up, that are in pieces, that don't want to heal themselves, but stay in the same cycle of repeat and rewind of handouts and taking other people's time. It makes sense to make Lilith look like she is the home wrecker of everybody when she is the pathway to independence and self sufficiency and creating the life that she created for herself. Wow. So it makes sense. You really do have to be careful as to who not only is your friends, but what you're actually eating at the table with, that's filled with people that has people that are holding themselves in pieces, whereas every bite is a struggle, every bite is an issue, every bite is a problem, whereas conversations become different at other tables. But how many will keep you at that table eating the same plates of stress and misery and other people's problems, whereas you getting up to create your own table is filled with support, growth, and love and positivity. You really do have to pay mind to the ones that want to keep you at the table where they're chopping it up, but they're in pieces and they want to chop other people up into pieces too. Eve is the one still holding on to the phallus because of the fact that that's what she believes is what is keeping the attention and the validation. Yet that's not even the key to what Adam is really searching for when he is searching for himself. Wow, yo. This is deeper than it needs to get, but it is as deep as that it gets. Anyways, yo, know what the most I got you. I'll be back on later. Have a good one. Bye.